today's episode, we're talking about isolation because I'm here at the Devil's Marbles, which is firstly absolutely spectacular, but secondly, it's also a great place to talk about that feeling we get when we're in a new place and we might be feeling a little bit isolated, and there's plenty of things that you can do about it. So let's get started. How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
When you first arrive in a new country, a new destination, you can get what's called culture shock. I'm going to drop a link to a video down below, and you'll find it in the video description as well. An awesome explanation of what culture shock is. Basically, even if you're going to a place where the culture, you think you're familiar with it, you can feel like a bit out of sorts and a bit disorientated, and that can really make you feel isolated. So understanding culture shock is an incredibly important thing. So check out that video down below. Feeling isolated is very normal, and one of the things that's pretty unique about Australia is that there's no stigma about feeling lonely or having a mental health issue. Essentially, if you feel like that, you know, people are incredibly accepting to hear your story and to help you out. And the universities themselves are particularly well equipped to support international students when they're feeling lonely. So if you do feel out of sorts, like, you know, you want to meet more people or you're not feeling well, you can go to your international office, your international student services or career counselling services, and they're absolutely 100% there to help you. Support services at Australian universities really are first rate. In fact, one of the things we have here in Australia is called Are You OK Day? And essentially it's where we check in on our friends and colleagues to make sure that they're feeling all right, because we all know that, you know, mental health illness affects like 1 in 5 people. I've had some depression in my life, and so I know very well what that feels like and how isolating that can feel. And so it's very important that we feel comfortable to talk about it and to reach out for help when we need it. And you can absolutely do that through many sources, not only your Australian university, but there are also amazing public resources that you can access, even as an international student. Firstly, Lifeline, of course, an incredible service. And then there's a great one which is called Beyond Blue. And these guys, both services have helplines that you can call if you're feeling lonely or isolated or in need of help. So I'll put those links down below. They'll be in the show notes, as well as the link right here. One of the things that obviously helps with isolation is making friends, and there are some really good ways to start doing that when you first arrive in Australia. The first thing to do is to join a whole bunch of clubs at your campus. So Australian universities have got great club scenes. Make sure you join a lot of clubs related to the things you're interested in and get involved. Jump in their online groups, go along to their events and activities. That's where you're going to meet like-minded people. In your classes, move around. Always sit next to somebody new in those first weeks and months when you're at university and say hello. The way I like to take this on is when I'm going to new events or activities or networking things, is to always, I've got a list of like 5 questions that I like to ask when I meet somebody new. And that's things like, you know, where do you come from? What things do you like? What was the best holiday you've been on recently? What have you got coming up on the weekend? And what's your favorite book? You know, 5 questions that you can ask anyone, get 5 different responses, and those are great conversation starters. So practice something like that as well. The sun's going down here at the Devil's Marbles Conservation Area in the Northern Territory in Australia. Really enjoyed talking about this super important topic. You know, this is one of the most isolated places on earth. Tennant Creek, next town in that direction, more than 100 kilometres away. Alice Springs, down the other end of the road, is something like 300 kilometres away. So we are in the middle of nowhere. I know what it feels like to feel isolated, not just here on a trip around Australia, but in general. I've been there, and so have lots of people. We understand you, so always feel free to reach out.